Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Happy Wednesday. We made it to the middle of the work week, which is great. Um, Let me go ahead and say hello. Good morning to ATL Gail. Good morning to Madam of the Mess. Good morning to Olivia. Oh, Olivia, this is going to be interesting. I'm glad that you're here. Glad that you're here. So, y'all, well, first off, I did relaunch my Dundada channel yesterday morning. So yesterday morning, just out of the blue, I ended up being up, so I went on ahead and did a morning show over there on the Dundada, and it was pretty good. It was pretty good. I will say that I was tired yesterday, but not as tired as what I thought. That's one of the reasons why I had to find balance and start doing this Monday, Wednesday, and Friday over here. But again, I said on the Dundada channel, I'm trying to incorporate Tuesday and Thursday something. So for the people who are members to my Dundada, first off, if you're not a member, definitely grab up a membership. So I will be doing members content on that channel. Also, I want to tell you that I did do a members live last night on that channel. I did my members live was about 45 minutes, and it was a very interesting discussion where I was explaining to everybody the different things that transpired and how I found out about this potential shooting that happened over there by Lemons Way. And so I was talking to my members about it, but I ended up having to put that live up on private, y'all, because I was sharing my screen. And when I was sharing my screen over there, I don't know, up in the YouTube studio, it had put the personal information, so I had to go ahead and get rid of that. So if you were one of my members that was in that live in real time, then you got to get the information that I provided. But I did have to private it, and I'm thinking I'm going to try to use the edit feature and then possibly put it back up. But I just haven't had time to sit down and mess with it to see if I could edit out the information. But either way, going forward, if you would like exclusive members content from me, definitely go join over there on the Dundada channel. Thank you. Okay. Good morning to Focus on You. Good morning, Sector Inspector. Welcome. Good morning to Tracy. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, you ready, Tracy? Girl, I was trying to show them the form that you fill out to fill out any type of copyright complaint. Girl, I ain't know that form auto-populates some of the information, and I'm like, damn. So luckily though, the main members that were in there, they were able to take away from the information that I got. But yeah, I'm gonna need to edit that video and then I'll see about putting it back up. But all right. And Sector Inspector is actually from the Black Tea sector, y'all. I mentioned to y'all about him, I think over the weekend, because it was some trouble brewing over there with them and the main witch over there at Lemons. So I did do brief commentary about them and the fight that I saw brewing. So if you actually want to hear him drag Lemon, or if you want to hear him drag the main witch, definitely check out his channel, The Sector Inspector, because he did do a video dragging both of them over this weekend. All right. So now I titled this Code Switching in the Congregation. There are a few reasons why I went on ahead and went this direction. Yes, Lemon did one of his lives last night. Let me see. Well, no, I'm going to start with Lemon real quick. But this is going to be a pretty much, a touch and go because I did not watch all of Lemon's live. Unfortunately, because he always puts it where you cannot rewind it, y'all. Once you done got there and you done got there kind of late, you kind of, at least by the time I got up in there, was already fighting. What I believe happened though was pretty much within the first 10-15 minutes of his live, he dropped the link and then all of a sudden, I think it was Noble and Lil Buckwheat was up there arguing. I left and then came back and then I saw Big Man TV up there arguing with Noble and Lil Buckwheat. left and came back, and it was just a whole bunch of chaos. I wasn't in the mood for all that, y'all. Good morning, Bernice, and good morning, CMAC TV. The one thing that I will touch on, though, about Lemon, what really confuses me about Lemon, I know that there have always been talks about him being a habitual, if not a compulsive liar. And I did find that he was a habitual, if not compulsive liar. Last year, I think it was around the time that he was dating or that he was having this virtual whatever with Krista. And I realized the lies that he would tell then, but I just witnessed him tell another lie when it comes to this little shooting incident that happened at his apartment. And Tracy, I actually appreciate you for getting up there and asking him about it. See, this is the problem, Tracy. The problem that I have is that Lemon is a dangerous liar. He will lie about something and then he will get mad at people for not believing the lie. Case in point. When he first opted to allow his mama to talk on Pizarro's panel many months ago, when he was on Pizarro's platform and he put his mama on there and actually allowed Pizarro to ask his mama questions. Around this time is when the mama slipped and said his first name. His mama slipped and said his first name on Pizarro's. It was clear as day. And then if we notice, there were several other panels that he hit later on down the line, if not his own panel, in which we could hear his mom in the background calling his government name. Only for when people to ask him if that was his government name, y'all, he lied and said it wasn't. Then when people was like, well, we heard this name. We heard your mama say that name. And he lied and said that wasn't his name. Only for his mama to repeatedly call him that name over the course of some times when we would hear her in the background. So, like, what's the purpose of lying about that? I mean, I understand that you want to keep your anonymity and you don't want to be doxxed. I get that. But why just blatantly lie to the audience or the people to have them thinking that they didn't hear what they heard, or to have them thinking that it's foolish of them to be thinking that this is your name, even though that's what your mama keep calling you. Like, when you just lie for no reason, it's weird. And that's kind of how I feel about this whole little shooting thing. So with this particular shooting situation that occurred over there in his vicinity. It wasn't yesterday, it was Monday evening. He deliberately said nothing happened over there at his apartment. He deliberately denied and lied that nothing happened at all. That was a lie that wasn't worthy of even being told. It was not worthy of being told because something did happen. It was on the news. It was published on the website. Something did happen. But instead, he lied and said that it didn't. Then, once I started pushing the issue yesterday morning on the different panels that I hit, and I had plausible receipts to back up what I was saying, then now last night, he is finally admitting that something happened, but he didn't have no parts with it. Well, that's all you had to say. Because even my original post, when I put it up there, was specifically cautionary about him. My point for my post originally was that it's some dangerous, unsavory people that's over there where he lives, and he needs to stop trying all of these neighbors, putting them on YouTube. That was the point that I was trying to get across, especially in relation to the fact that somebody could just come over there and start powing over there. And then, the little article said that 3 people were injured and were hospitalized, So I believe that it's dangerous when you start bringing the people up on YouTube, sometimes with their consent, sometimes without their consent. I believe it's dangerous when you start allowing your neighbors to know the type of money that you are making on YouTube. I think it's dangerous when you allow them to know that you are the highest paid person according to you, and that you are making these thousands and thousands of dollars, so much so that you are giving $2,000 away for a talent competition. That's dangerous. I think it's dangerous for you to bring these street dudes slash thug dudes who engage in criminal behavior and criminal activity onto the YouTube platform and allow them to talk recklessly in the background, if not on the screen, about the crimes that they have committed. I believe that that's very dangerous. Good morning, Sage Gage. Good morning, Asia. Lemon doesn't understand that he is playing with fire each and every time he brings those neighbors on here. Especially because I remember hearing about last week, one of the neighbors clicked his link and was actually talking about how he had just came from boosting some alcohol at the convenience store. And I think it was one of the panelists, if not, yeah, I think it was a panelist that was asking him how did he boost the liquor? What did he do? Did he just get it and run out of the store? And the man actually started speaking about and breaking down how he went into this liquor store and how he successfully steals alcohol. And he was given the blueprint about how he does that regularly and gets away with it regularly. So you got somebody admitting to actually theft and shoplifting and potentially committing a crime, and all of this on YouTube, on to an audience of over 400 or 500 people, onto an audience of almost 1,000 people, and let me think this is okay. Only for them to be doing the shootings and stuff over there. You can't play with these people like that. So that was the reason why I put the post. But for Lemon to actually lie and act like that did not happen is ridiculous. He is one of those dangerous liars that could get somebody in trouble. But Tracy, I did get up there and I saw you ask the question, which you did. You asked the right questions. And for the record and on the record, because I saw people questioning, and I spoke about this in my members live that I had to take down. But essentially, y'all, how I even knew that that was around Lemon's area, it's not because I went and looked Lemon up. No, it's not because I went and looked up anything. I knew that that was Lemon's area because I just got through with a striking and flagging war with all of them. Don't forget. Remember when Lemon was sending Octavius to come mess with my 2 backup channels, and then I had to get Lemon and strike him back and that back and forth? That's how I ended up even come across some Lemon's information to begin with. So no, it was not me being malicious and going to Snoop to try to figure anything out about Lemon. No, we actively had striking wars going back and forth. And with just having the striking wars going back and forth, where YouTube make you fill out the form and submit your information, that's how I got the information. So when I came across that particular clip about that shooting and I recognized the street name in that area, I said, wait a second. And then, of course, all I have to do is just go back to my email that YouTube sent me with the information in it from Lemon during the strike wars. And I saw that that was his area. Point blank in the period. It's very simple. And it kind of is crazy to me that people have been in the beef sector and don't realize how easy it is to come across different things like this. I actually was having a conversation on ODS's the other night with Lady Nika about this. And good morning, Robin moderator. I was having a conversation on ODS's with Lady Nika about this, and me and Lady Nika actually recounted a few times in beef sector history where we ended up stumbling across information for somebody, or the sector ended up stumbling across some type of story for somebody, unbeknownst to them. For most of the OGs that's been around, do y'all remember Do y'all remember when Miss Gina, Queen of Talk, her son was allegedly up in a car accident, remember? And there was a whole bad car accident, and the entire beef sector knew about this accident, and then it ended up being said it was Miss Gina's son, only for somebody to get to the heart of the circumstance, and it wasn't Miss Gina's son at all. And then she got accused of lying and preying on the beef sector audience for cash outs. Remember when people got upset and was calling her all types of scammers and stuff because of that? Remember that? And not even with just that, in the beef sector. Do y'all remember the man Bashful B that lived in Mississippi, and he had some type of tornado or hurricane or something that messed up his home? And there was this whole story about that came out to the beef sector about what happened over there to him. And that was a talking point and a question of like, well, did something happen to his house? Is he okay? All of this kind of stuff. That was something that had been discussed here. Even we go back to Bama Girl. Remember during the time when Bama Girl was talking about it was her godson that had that whole unfortunate police incident, and it ended up being the talk of the sector for quite some time about the locally what was going on there, only for us to find out that the guy was not the godson of Bama Girl at all, but was just a close friend of Bama Girl's son. I give all of these examples because me and Lady Nika went through talking about these different examples of how stuff like this have come across the beef sector. So that's why I still don't get why Lemon would just outright lie and say that nothing happened over there when something really did. That just don't make sense. But then once I had to push the issue, then now he done finally said that something happened over there. Well, that's all you had to say. Just say, well, yeah, it happened over here, but I'm safe. Everything is all right, blah, blah. But no, he adamantly said, no, that wasn't it. And it was it. And when I heard him last night, when he finally stopped lying and admit to it, then he said he didn't have nothing to do with it. Well, that's fine. My point in sharing that with everybody is so that y'all could be on note that over there where he lives, just on Sunday, there was a whole pow, pow, pow went, and 3 people were injured and were hospitalized. That was my point. So that y'all could stop entertaining, if not putting him up to putting these random ass people in this neighborhood up on the damn YouTube, especially when they getting on here being accused of being gay and stuff. I mean, men have very, very big egos when it comes to their sexuality. And I could only imagine, as much talk as it is across the beef sector on questioning women's sexuality, I think a lot of these men would be mad as hell if they knew that there was some type of questioning of their own sexuality due to their association with Lemon on the internet because Lemon was putting them up on here. It's a very dangerous game that he is playing. A very dangerous game. And it's clearly people that's over there that live by him and his neighbors and all that don't mind picking up a pow, pow, pow and using it and don't give a damn about whatever consequence may come from it. So, yeah, you know, I just found it weird that he would just lie. He'll lie about anything, y'all. Anything. But then he want to get the cussing and calling me all type of hippo and stuff. Bitch, you can call me whatever you want, but I have a safe place to lay my head at night, and that's the problem. I'm not involving my neighbors in no YouTube foolishness. That's the problem. I'm not putting people up on here with or without their consent or knowledge like what you were doing. That's the problem. You were, for at least easily a good 2 to 3 weeks, we witnessed you go through neighbor and neighbor and neighbor, exploiting them, putting them on here. Whether it was the older lady with dementia who had no idea that we were listening to her talk about her husband and her marital issues and how she ready to potentially divorce her husband because she don't want to be his caretaker. And this woman was talking all this personal information, not even knowing that you were on the StreamYard link and that we were all hearing that. And at that time, that was over there with Code. And Code had about 350, if not 400 people up in that chat listening to this woman complain about her marital woes and about her husband not being able to wipe his own ass. it's exploiting the people without their consent or their permission that Lemon is doing. And he act like these people couldn't find out what he's doing or that it couldn't get back to them. He act like that lady who has the dementia or the Alzheimer's that was talking about her husband. He act like that lady don't have kids that might, might not feel good about the fact that he got her on recording without her knowledge, talking about her personal health issues and all this weird shit. So yeah, it's very dangerous, that area where Lemon is. It was a shooting right outside of his front door, literally. And I think that all of y'all Lemonettes, anybody that be over there supporting, if y'all really gave a damn, y'all would discourage him from continuously exploiting his neighbors like that. Because it's a fun game of you putting these people on here without their knowledge until it's not. It's a fun game until somebody take offense to it. It's a fun game until these men realize that their sexuality has become in question because somebody had a wet ass, or because you let somebody lay up in your bed, or because you was over there trying to touch somebody's ass, and now it's this whole thing about if the people are down low with you. So yes, so that's the moral of that. But again, I did not have to look Lemon up. No. From the flagging wars, with him striking me striking him, appealing the strike and filling out the YouTube forms and all that, we ended up having to exchange government information with each other for that very reason related to our channels. Point blank in a period. So I don't need people running around saying that I doxed Lemon, I looked him up, I tried to find his address. Absolutely not. That's what happened. So anyway, let me move on. Well, first, let me check the comments. Okay. Right to be told said, good morning. I remember both stories and lies. CMAC TV said, child, we believe, we just haven't said that they live a different life or are affecting the funk. And Focus on You said, 100% of these men in this sector is gay or closeted. My brother is gay and wouldn't waste his time on the soap opera BS. Gotcha. Okay. So now with that said, Lemon just did a whole lot of deflecting when all he had to do was just not lie to begin with. Because even prior to him showing up on Monday, I tried to reach out to a couple of people that I thought might be associated with his Discord to see if they had seen him active in the Discord. Because I didn't know if he had anything to really do with the circumstance, or if he could have been one of the people that could have been affected by it, or if he even knew the people in question that was affected by it. And so I had a couple of people who were in the Discord to check to see if he had been in there, only for me to be told that he had not been in the Discord the whole weekend, which then made me raise an eyebrow. But so yeah, there's that. But let me move on to the title of this this live, and why I call this code switching in the congregation. So Jay Wilson went live last night, y'all. And he was having his show, and none other than Code, Binary Code. He showed up over there to Jay Wilson's. Click the link, y'all. And I honestly don't know what to think about this. I don't know what to think about this this interaction that I witnessed. Now remember, once upon a time when the Umar sector guys had first came, Jay Wilson refused to let them on his platform. He said that they couldn't come over there. I guess now he's saying that they actually making money on their own channel. So now he is open to letting them come. I think it was off the strength of Ness that he started letting Billy Goat Raw get up on this platform. But last night he had Code up there. And my question, good morning, Tuddy. And my question is, y'all, is this about to be a budding friendship? Dare I say it, besties between him and Code? Or is this a beef waiting to happen? Is it a budding friendship or a beef waiting to happen? This is the reason why I say it. First off, I was quite shocked to even mosey over through to Jay Wilson's and see Code on the panel, especially considering that Lemon was live. Now, normally Code is over there by Lemon, but Code was over there by Jay Wilson. And I'm like, well, is Code throwing Lemon away currently because the talent show is over? Is he done with Lemon because the talent show, the competition is over with and done with, and he done made whatever money he could make off Lemon? So really, he don't have too much use for Lemon currently until I guess the next talent show. He went over to over to Jay Wilson's, and he ended up getting into it with Demon Soul over there. See, Mac TV said, I think Jay Wilson was low-key flirting. You know, I didn't know if he was flirting, but I will say that they had a very interesting chemistry and a back and forth. And I also began to notice that they have a lot more commonalities than I realized, which might be the reason why certain people in the Umar sector have an issue with Code or have had an issue with Code in the past. Because just listening to him talk over there with Jay Wilson and seeing how much of the things that they have in common, it makes me wonder if Cole was the Jay Wilson of the Umar sector. They both are educated. They both have these degrees, these doctor degrees, even though Jay Wilson is a D-man, and I believe Cole is a PhD, but I'm not 100% certain. They both have somewhat of a pompous attitude to a certain degree. They both seem to be charlatans from the church, because I completely forgot that Code had history as being a pastor once before. Did y'all know that? And especially when you think about the fact that both of them are charlatans and slightly money hungry in their approach to YouTube, it's fascinating that they come here, they build up the congregation, they come here for the coins, for the money, almost like they will do anything to anybody in order to get the cute coin, building up the congregation, Code over there with his members, everything. And I just witnessed and realized that they were so similar. But then I realized how easily Code was able to switch as if he was a chameleon, because the person that he presented over there on Jay Wilson's with the Rider Lives was totally different and the polar opposite than how he presents over there at Lemon. It was pretty much day and night. At Lemon's, he's very messy, and shady and backbiting. Over at Jay Wilson, though, he was subdued, almost as if he was carrying himself as if he was at a church, at a gathering or something. Primarily, though, the biggest argument or point of contention that I noticed while Code had his appearance over there, and let me just say, when Code got over there, Code didn't just go there for like 30 minutes. No, Code spent about 2 or 3 hours up on the panel with Jay Wilson. 2 or 3 hours. I think they BFFs. And the funny thing, too, is Jay Wilson, clearly, I don't know if it's just his age or what, but Jay Wilson kept calling Code ghetto intellect, and that was sending me. I don't know if Jay Wilson was purposely calling that man ghetto intellect to be shady as hell, or if he was calling that man ghetto intellect because he truly don't know them apart. I don't know. But good morning, Joyce Goodwin. Good morning, everybody. But I did see Code, and I feel like Code really didn't go over there for Jay Wilson. I honestly think that Code showed up for the Miss O. I don't know if many of y'all know, but the Miss O and Code, they kind of have some trouble brewing. Now I knew about this trouble behind the scenes, but I didn't realize that they would actually meet each other on Jay Wilson's to where it would start kind of getting a little heated with them. So let me tell y'all what happened. So I guess it had to have been on Monday. I think it was on Monday. I was working and had my headphones on, listening to Code, listening to his morning show. And just out the blue, he spoke about the fact that the Miss O's, or no, he said, let me see how I'm going to say this. Because it's not a fact of what he said, but for some reason, out of the blue, he threw out the idea that the Miss O had separated from her husband. And for the life of me, when he threw that out, it stopped me in my tracks. And I immediately stopped working, picked up my phone, and I typed in the chat real quick, and I said, "No, don't say that." I said, "The Miss O and her husband was just together on the road trip together," which they were. They had just been on the road trip where the Miss O was taking pictures of the different sites that she saw. They were on the interstate. She took a picture of them entering New Jersey and things like that because the Miss O's husband is a truck driver. And I guess from time to time, especially during the summer break, she will go on the road with him and ride in the truck with him. But Code wanted to have his audience of them few hundred people thinking that Demon Soul husband left her. And I'm like, well, that's messy as hell. Why would you even say that? And not only that, Cole is always getting pissed off when people bring up his marriage or his wife. I mean, hell, that's the reason why he had the restraining order, the 2-year restraining order on Billy Goat Rob for as long as he did. Because it was in relation to his wife and his career and things that were said about his wife and career that Billy Goat Rod did. So it's like, Cole, if you done been on the other side of people talking about your marriage or saying negative things about your wife, why would you say anything negative about Demon Souls? And he said it like that as if it were a matter of fact. And he said it as if there wasn't going to be anybody to correct him in there. I corrected him immediately, and so did RNYTV. I didn't even mention it to Demon Soul because I just knew that was a flat out lie that Cole said. So I just corrected his lie and kept it moving. I felt like Cole was just kind of trolling when he said it. So it was nothing for me to just go rush and tell Demon Soul. However, word ended up getting to Demon Soul about what was said, and Demon Soul had a problem with that. So I believe Cole deliberately and meticulously showed up on Jay Wilson's last night because he know that that's where Demon Soul hangs out. I think that he used the moment to show up at Jay Wilson's because he knew that he would be able to finally have a conversation with Demon Soul because she always over there. And that's kind of what happened because Demon Soul ended up being on the panel as well. Demon Soul was kind of just keeping it cute and professional. But I think Code ended up initiating conversation with Demon Soul on the panel. And from him initiating, Demon Soul kind of was snarky with him because she still got an attitude about him even questioning the status of her marriage and just throwing it out there all willy-nilly for the consumption of all of these people on here when it's not true. I think that she also felt some type of way about him even bringing her marriage up in his commentary to begin with, or speaking on her marriage when she wasn't even there. So because she kind of was snarky with him, they ended up having a dialogue about this whole thing. They went back and forth. It escalated into an argument. At some point, you would think that it was about to be a heated argument, but then it kind of simmered down a little bit because I think Demon Soul was trying to respect Jay Wilson's platform. Cole, being, I guess, a first timer over there on the platform, really wasn't trying to do too much. And plus, Demon Soul was saying that she wanted to go live up on her own channel and express her grievance about it. Something about it makes me wonder if Cole was just over there trying to show out with Jay Wilson. I wonder if Cole was over there trying to show out and show that they are equals when it comes to them being pastors and being in the church. Thank you, Dr. Nikki, for contributing to my goal. Thank you, Dr. Nikki, moderator. Thank you so much. Thank you. I think that Cole was trying to show his black ass over there. And I feel like he, unfortunately, y'all, on many occasions, thank you, Dr. Nikki. On many occasions, I feel like D Misso is purposely targeted. Because out of all the married people to mess with their marriages and stuff, why pick D Misso out of everybody? Why? Why do that, Code? Unless you actually are trying to pick with the woman. Oh, ATL Gale. Wait. So CMAC TV said he was asking Code a few actual questions into the conversation. ATL Gale said, I don't think so. I think Binary is just very accepting and can blend in with any crowd. ATL Gale also said, Binary said just the other day that he is addicted to YouTube and it was hard for him not to come on over the weekend. Maybe he was just bored. CMAC TV says it seems like the calmer Code was the Misso kept trying to bait him to argue. It was funny to me. And CMAC is saying, J.Dunn, if it's not true, why be this upset about the relationship rumors? CMAC TV, I believe that the Misso was upset about it because, in my opinion, I think she feels like that she is targeted for no reason. And it did kind of look like a targeted attack. Like, it really did. Like, the woman ain't even in the chat. It ain't even about marriages, and you just gonna throw that out there about her marriage. I feel like it was a targeted attack, almost as if he needs a beef or needs somebody to go against. Since the talent show Hogwash with Lemon is over, it's like, okay, well, what now? I mean, he been having this quote unquote beef with the TSW Oak Cove lady leading up to the talent show, but that really don't get too much traction. It was okay. The beef was tolerated during the time because the talent show had not happened yet. But now that the talent show and competition has come and gone, nobody really cares about his beef with TSW. So it makes me wonder if he was just kind of picking with Demon Soul just to find a new beef to get into. That's how it feels to me. Adrian said, I saw Demon Soul had made a post on her wall about Cole having to send her a cash app if he wanted her on his pen, I think. Well, so what it seems, and even Demon Soul, I'm thinking that this is what Demon Soul thinks, but I've heard a lot of people say this, that Cole will deliberately throw out a lie about somebody on his channel to bait them into clicking his link. What do y'all think about that? That he'll just pull a lie out the crack of his ass and throw it out there on purpose to make you feel the need to defend yourself. Therefore, you will click his link and end up giving him commentary over there up on his panel, or end up giving him an argument in a show. It's plausible that he does that because that was just the most random lie ever. And then on Jay Wilson's, Code was saying that the lie originated from his members only, but that's not true. I'm not a member at Codes, and I had heard when he said that, and I'm not even a member. Because at first, when he was arguing with Demon Soul, I think he was telling her that was the conversation that was initiated in his members only live, and that's how it even came to be a thing. But even if it was something in his members only live, why take it out of your members only live and bring it out here to the main YouTube for all of us non-members to hear it? Just feel like he was picking at her, in my opinion. So Asia said, I think Code went over to Passive for two reasons: to poke at Demon Soul and network. Yeah. See, Max said, but Demon Soul always seems to be targeted. And Asia said, yes, it was weird. Why start with Demon Soul about her marriage? And when RNYTV asked Code to identify who had stated Demon Soul had marital problems, he wouldn't say. Correct, because I think he pulled that out the crack of his ass, y'all. Now, y'all know I typically keep up with a lot. I will say that because I have to go to bed at a decent hour in order to make sure I wake up to get to y'all here at 6 o'clock in the morning, some things I do miss to where I can't see everything. And unfortunately, I cannot watch everybody. I try to cover a lot of ground based on the recaps and stuff that I hear, but I can't watch everybody. But the reason why I say that is I don't think I ever heard anybody speak about Demon Soul's marriage at all recently. That's why I feel like it was a lie. But then also, for RNYTV to be Cole's favorite, why the hell will Cole even have that type of question about Demon Soul's marriage and the marital status and all this in front of damn RNYTV? Maybe he wanted RNYTV to click that link. Maybe he was trying to bait her into clicking the link. Some kind of way I feel like he was trying to bait somebody into clicking the link. But it just seems to me that Jay Wilson and Cole just might be cut from the same cloth, y'all. I would have to ask, and I might have to look around over there at the Umar sector. And again, thank you, Dr. Nikki, for contributing to my goals. I'm gonna have to peek in over there with them and start asking questions, because I bet that they will have a plethora of stories to tell us about Cole and his pastoring experience and his church experience and everything. I think that they probably will have some interesting stories to tell. Because at least over here in the beef sector, we can tell you a whole lot when it comes to Jay Wilson and his ways. At least over here, Jay Wilson first got he got his following being messy initially because of the Kanye and T.S. Madison fallout. But then eventually he kind of started switching it up with his audience to where during the pandemic, or right before the pandemic started, Jay Wilson actually used to do a Sunday service every Sunday. He actually had the people coming over, including myself. I used to, back then, around 2018 and 2019, I used to go over there to Jay Wilson's Sunday service. I used to support the Sunday service. I used to listen to his sermon. He used to sing. I used to give my money in the Cash App or the Super Chat. Hell, in some instances, even tithing. But that's only because in 2018, 2019, we did not know, or at least let me speak for myself. I did not know all the faces of Jay Wilson back then at that time. So I foolishly, and dare I say it, I was very naive when I really thought that he was a pastor to be taken seriously. I really thought that he was someone to be taken seriously. But we were all wrong. Good morning, V. Lachey. We ended up being all wrong in that regard. People spent money, tithe, gave offering, listened to him go through his damn preaching. He used to do prayer requests, y'all, over there where people did prayer requests. Now, I never did no prayer requests. I don't want him to pray for me. I think the pivotal moment, though, that made me truly believe that Jay Wilson was a man of the cloth initially, and this is for the OG beef sector, old heads, and even the original Ride to Live people. Do y'all remember back in 2018, I believe it was, y'all, when Jay Wilson was doing one of his like church services? It was like one evening. And do y'all remember the lady coming up in Jay Wilson's chat and was threatening to unalive herself? Y'all, and this really happened in the B sector. It was about 2018 when this happened at Jay Wilson's channel. Good morning, Yvonne A. There was a lady that was in mental distress, about to unalive herself. If I'm not mistaken, the lady had ingested a bottle or two of some medication. And she dropped down in Jay Wilson's chat to let him know what she had done. She was kind of asking for prayer and, just basically trying to repent because of what she had done. Long story short, Jay Wilson wants his moderators and everybody. Good morning, Stephen. Once his moderators saw this lady, what she had typed up in the chat, at first people were taken aback because people didn't know if that was a troll or not. Then once they realized that it wasn't a troll, because when they clicked on that lady name, it took them to the fact that this lady really had a channel, and they realized that that was a real person. And they ended up, the moderators, the chat, everybody was like going crazy in the chat trying to get Jay Wilson's attention to let him know about the fact that this woman had just tried to attempt to take unalive herself, and that she was typing about it up in the chat. So by that point, his entire chat was in the uproar. People was trying to figure out the location for this lady. Y'all, even in that moment, there was doxing, because people started trying to find this lady on other social media platforms, whether it was Facebook, whether it was Instagram. They was trying to find this woman's personal Facebook so that they could locate somebody that knew this woman in real life to alert people to get this lady some help. I can't remember that woman's name. I feel like her name was Joy. Something. But I do remember that Burl, there's a lady called Burl Robinson that used to be heavily over there at Jay Wilson's, a Ride to Live. And Burl tried to jump in to help. And they ended up doxing the lady in Jay Wilson's chat, but for a damn good reason. They were able to go to her Facebook and locate her sister in her Facebook friends list. And they were able to reach out to her sister via messages or either on her sister's chat wall. They were able to alert her sister and get the authorities involved for somebody to go check on this lady. Essentially, Jay Wilson and the Ride to Live saved that lady life that night. And that's a real story. That really happened. So, and I witnessed that. I witnessed that live when they saved that woman's life. So imagine me back then in 2018 witnessing his group over there in the beef sector of all places, because at that time the beef sector was dark. Well, it was gutter and just a little crazy. But I went to that channel and saw these people actively save somebody's life. And so that's what made me start taking Jay Wilson seriously as a preacher or a pastor or whatever. I started taking him seriously after that incident, because I'm like, dang, they really saved this woman's life. What would have happened if they didn't do all that they did in order to work to find this woman? Do many of y'all remember that? Like I said, you gotta have been around for since 2018 to even remember this, but that happened. And I think that one act of kindness, that one gesture, is what allowed Jay Wilson to somewhat goop the beef sector into really taking him seriously as a pastor. And that's what made people to start actually going over there and listening to his sermons and his Sunday service, and his singing of his hymns and all of this in the donation. I say all that to say, I wonder if Binary has something similar that happened over there with the Umar sector people. Like if he was bringing church into it, or has he always been on this platform just being messy? Like, has he always tried to mix the two? Because Jay Wilson used to mix the two. And once people started realizing that Jay Wilson was kind of underhanded with everything, where on the one hand, he had this face of being this pastor who was this man of God, but then on the other hand, he was being messy. And it used to be a running joke even that people said that Jay Wilson would be messy Monday through Saturday, and on Sunday he was a man of God. Then people were thinking that Jay Wilson was just trying to get the people for the money, because that's when people started realizing that that's really what all he was about, was the money. That's also when he finally had to start being transparent and say about coins keep him here and he only here for the money, because people really started raising an eyebrow at him, because he did seem to be somewhat of just a money hungry person up on here. And now Code done went over there and did some networking with him, and now Code has felt like he must have found his brother from another mother. Let me see what ATL Gale said. I have went in Jay Wilson chat numerous of times. I always greet the channel holder when I go in the chat. He has never acknowledged me in one of his chats. And then Asia saying, don't take it personally. He probably too busy chewing. Asia, not he too busy chewing. Not Jay Wilson was too busy chewing that he couldn't even speak. Mm-mm-mm. A damn mess. But he might have been too busy chewing. I just said that 1099, hallelujah. Man, that mess was wild as hell. Thank you, Ivana. Thank you for contributing towards my goal. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. But yeah, so y'all, over here in the beef sector, we done had some ups and downs when it comes to Jay Wilson and how he is able to have this beef sector persona, but then also have this image of being a godlike person. I think that's what kind of made Jay Wilson, people turn against Jay Wilson, and that's kind of what caused or initiated many of his beefs. At least based on my knowledge, Timothy Blaine and Jay Wilson had always gotten into it behind this man called Walter Lee Hampton. They had different opinions about this particular content creator. But Tim Blaine really couldn't stand the fact that Jay Wilson was mixing God into the beef sector in the way that he does. Because Tim Blaine always felt that Jay Wilson was playing with God. And that's the reason why Tim Blaine started really disliking Jay Wilson and feeling like Jay Wilson was a sneak and a snake and just a snake oil, what they call it? A used car salesman or a snake oil salesman or whatever. That's how come they kind of got in their beef. If I'm not mistaken, one of the first issues that I think the reason why Phi Babe and Jay Wilson even kind of connected was because back then, remember, Phi Babe was claiming to be a prophetess. Remember, y'all? Back then in 2018, Phi Babe was doing her mess and beefing with Sean Bradley to get her numbers up. She definitely did clout chase Sean Bradley and the Side Eyes, aka Club Chat back then, to start her fan base in the beef sector. But I think she connected with Jay Wilson where they were on a cool level, because Jay Wilson was over there being the haughty pastor and Phi Babe was being the prophetess. She said she was able to know stuff. That's what she said. People actually believe that she'll wake up in the morning, like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, sipping on some coffee with her camera on. She had these very thick glasses that she used to wear, but they wasn't the thick glasses like Coke bottle thick glasses, but they were just kind of thick. You could tell that she had a little vision problems. And she'll be slurping coffee and talking about how she used to be in the military, and that's why she wake up so early in the morning. And she will talk about her being a prophetess, and then talk about some of the mess and everything. Y'all remember all that stuff? It's a lot of the people, a lot of these older people or OG, whatever, that connected through to God and spirituality back then. And especially once COVID happened, y'all, I believe that a lot of people started connecting in that way. And many people, especially Jay Wilson, capitalized on it, y'all. Definitely did. Thank you again, Yvonne A, for contributing to my goal. Good morning to everybody coming in. Miss Essence and everybody. Tracy says she's sick of Jay Wilson. I'm sure you are. Even during COVID, I remember Jay Wilson had he would use his platform and have nurses come on there, y'all. And the nurses, it would be actual nurses that were either subbies, or I don't know if these are nurses that he knew personally. I can't recall, but he would have nurses actually come and he would hold a panel where these nurses would give us tips of advice and medical advice on how to protect ourselves, because at this time the COVID had just started happening and it was a whole big, stir fest of not knowing what was going to happen. People just losing their lives all around us and people being scared. A lot of fearful people. And Jay Wilson used the fear that the people had and would bring the medical representatives to his channel to talk to everybody about. He would use them to talk to everybody about our fears and what we had going on when it comes to the fear of the pandemic. And during that time, people would also give him cash out, super chats, everything. People felt like, oh, thank you. It's because of you bringing this medical professional up on your panel and having them talk to us and advise us of what type of mask to get, how we need to proceed, what type of gloves that we need to get in order to get by. It was a lot of people that had fear, but also gratitude. And that translated to money and donations for Jay Wilson. And I believe that it was because of these times how he was able to kind of prey on the people and get the money from the people. Good morning, Just Lovely and DVD. But imagine everybody's dismay later on down the line, once kind of all the fear and stuff settled and people were able to get vaccinated. Oh yeah, Jay Wilson used to be a big pusher of getting vaccinated. He used to always hold these panels telling people to get the vaccination, blah, blah, blah. But then people started realizing that he was messy as all get out, y'all. And the facade that he used to wear, that mask that he used to wear as being a legitimate man of God and a pastor, slowly dissipated over the course of the years. And then people started slowly realizing that he was just a person, an opportunist, and he was just preying on money. He only wanted the money from the people and not necessarily cared about the people. And this caused people to start really side-eyeing him and questioning his ethics. And now here we are today, where a lot of people don't even look at him as being a pastor anymore. But it's interesting because I believe the new Umar people who have come over, I think they might actually believe him to truly be a pastor. But he's not, y'all. He went to seminary and he did get documentation and he got a few degrees, yes. But he's not really a pastor. But I think based on that conversation that I saw him and Code having last night, on the live. I think Code was really thinking that he was a genuine pastor. I think it seemed like Code seemed to be somewhat impressed about some of the stuff that Jay Wilson was saying. ATL Gale said, he thought it was very comical that Binary had been a pastor in the past, and I thought to myself, this ain't this the pot calling the kettle black, right? And she said, see, I don't know a lot about some of these people. I think I've been over here about 3 years. Oh, ATL Gale, we got an eye full about stuff. But this is one of the reasons, too, why you notice many people up in the beef sector will cuss Jay Wilson out just like anybody else. Because once upon a time, people did used to hold Jay Wilson up to a certain regard in the beef sector, and where people wasn't so quick to cuss him out because people took him seriously as a pastor. I remember the very first time that Jay Wilson had ever said something in one of his videos that was negative towards me and it pissed me off. I remember my first video where I ever had to drag Jay Wilson, and I cussed him clean the hell out and called him a bag of bitches. And I remember a couple of my moderators were kind of upset and disappointed with me for calling Jay Wilson a bag of bitches because they felt like I had disrespected that man of the cloth. They felt like I had disrespected the man of the cloth, y'all, and my moderators who were like a little bit older than me and took Jay Wilson and his antics over there very serious. They was mad at me. They was like, I can't believe that you cussed him out. I think you owe Jay Wilson an apology. I actually had a couple of my moderators really telling me that I owe this man an apology. And now look at him. I'm so happy I stuck to my guns and I wasn't trying to give no apology to nobody. Because I think back then when this happened, I had to have been about 31. I was about 31 years old, maybe 32. Jay Wilson had to been. Good morning, VA Sagittarius and everybody, and Suki. Good morning, Just Lovely. I don't know if I said good morning. Oh, look at Suki. Suki said he sure tried to trick us when he first started. See, so Suki remember because he had people really thinking that he was this man of God, like for real. Let me see what DVD. He is the way he will read and roast folks without saying a curse word, and he was good at it. He has gotten very nasty now. Yeah, he totally different. But I remember, and good morning, newbie moderator. I remember when my moderators really wanted me to go back and apologize to him and all of this, and it was just a whole big deal because they truly believed in him as a man of God, and they felt like I had totally disrespected him by cussing him out and calling him a bag of bitches. Only for in hindsight, everybody cussing his ass out now because he wore one mask at the beginning and ended up being something totally different. But then it leads me to wonder, like, well, is it okay? Good morning, Stephanie Collins. It leads me to ask myself, well, is it okay for Asuki? I talked about his Sunday sermons, and it was faithfully every Sunday, y'all. He used to preach. It was faithfully every Sunday where he would take cash apps and super chats with people giving tithes to him. People stopped tithing at their own churches and started tithing to Jay Wilson on YouTube, y'all. It was a shame and a scandal. It was a shame and a scandal around the beef sector back then. But Jay Wilson was able to do it and get away with it. I ain't even lying. But Stephanie said, trust and believe. We got a no good reverend running around the Umar sector, but it ain't binary. What? Oh, it's not Code. Oh, I wonder who y'all reverend is, because I was sure thinking it was damn Code. She said it ain't binary. Huh. Let me see what else she said. So Stephanie said, binary hasn't really brought the Lord into the Umar sector. He will really only talk about it when he's asked. Okay, thank you, Stephanie. Thank you. Because I was curious. I was curious if he mixed that into y'all sector stuff, like kind of how Jay Wilson did over here with us, or if he kept it separate. And I mean, that's good to know that he kept those two things separate. I think that's something that you could at least respect, because it's not like he playing with God. Because if you ask around the beef sector, y'all, it's a lot of people that lost respect for Jay Wilson because they started feeling like he was playing with God over there. And please like my video if y'all haven't. It's weird how this has become like a beef sector history lesson slash walk down memory lane slash just talking about the ups and downs. But people lost respect for Jay Wilson because they thought he was playing with God too much over there. Even now, he still play with God, but now he not as serious with how he be playing with God, but he used to really, really play with God a lot. Even if y'all think about it, with his interaction with me, y'all, as many times as I done been blocked and banned on and off, off of his channel, y'all. The last few times that he blocked and banned me, he even said that he gotta pray to the Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit gotta come and tell him that it's okay for him to let me up, And people thought that was crazy as hell for him to say. Because don't the Holy Spirit got other important things to be doing than to be over there speaking to Jay Wilson about letting me up on the damn panel or let me up on a link? Don't the Holy Spirit got more things to be focused on and to be worried about than that? But Jay Wilson always talking about the Holy Spirit got to tell him. Just Lovely said, I did like him for the way he spoke about Michelle. Someone told me they was watching him and I heard what he was saying and I never went back. Wow, okay. And then DVD said, I think the first time I heard him cuss is when he told Lady P to kiss his ass. I forgot about that whole thing with Lady P. And y'all remember that whole intervention between Jay Wilson, QB, and Phi Babe? Oh my goodness. But Lady P, now I will say, Lady P was one of them devout parishioners over there for a little while, up until he cussed her out and told her to kiss his ass. Jay-Z. Jay Wilson was a piece of work. That's one of the things too that I'm hoping for, because y'all notice that it's been a few of the B sector content creators who lost channels once upon a time, and they've been getting their channels back, like how Deanna got her first channel back, and like Pizarro ended up getting the first spaceship back. I feel like somebody else got their channel back as well. But wouldn't it be something if Jay Wilson got his first channel back? Because I think that's the problem. The fact that his first channel got snatched, y'all, he lost his first channel because he had a porn bomb. And at that time, YouTube was strict. And that porn bomb caused his channel to just be snatched from him immediately. He didn't even get to finish the live and end the live, and his channel was already gone. And he had to start over. But I sometimes wonder if he got his old channel back, what a lot of these new people would think if they could actually go look at the way he was then versus how he is now. I wish that his old channel would come back so that we can go and show him having church sermons and services over here, y'all, with the Bible, going through the scripture, telling people to pull their Bible out and look up this scripture with him and read along and all this kind of stuff, y'all. It was for real. And it made me wonder, well, was he genuine and serious about it, or was that just a tactic to gain over the trust of the people? It makes you wonder. Good morning, free thinker. Good morning, Roger Davis. I ain't seen you in a minute. Roger Davis said, there's no way Jay Wilson is in a loving relationship. Good morning, y'all. Yeah, I wonder if he just used that as a tactic to get over on people. Because I will say one thing about black people. Black people love the Lord, y'all. They love the Lord. The best way to get close to a black person 9 times out of 10 is through the Lord. And I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of these content creators, upon starting theirs, they use the Lord to catapult them in certain ways. Specifically, Jay Wilson and Phi Babe. Because Phi Babe was show saying she was a prophetess over there, y'all. Let Phi Babe tell it. She could see everything that's about to happen before it happened, y'all. Good morning, Resto. She could tell you what was about to happen, y'all. I think the main people that did not play with God or mess around with God like that would be the Nikas, the James, and the Sean Bradley, because they were really just about the show reviews. They wasn't trying to bring God into it and make people change their beliefs and their spiritual beliefs and thoughts. Oh, Resto, I was talking about code switching in the congregation because Binary Code went over there to Jay Wilson last night. And it was almost day and night. The code that we see at Lemons, that messy, shady, that code was different when he was over there with Jay Wilson, and they were kind of over there bonding about both of them being ministers or pastors before, and both of them be having their doctor degree, and both of them being educated, both of them having seminary, and these types of things they were bonding about. And so I was speaking about that because I was curious to know, with the dynamic that they had together over there at Jay Wilson's, does it point to them becoming best friends, BFFs, or does it point to them becoming enemies? Because it's almost like they too alike. People who are too much alike, how they don't get along. I was posing that question and just getting everybody else's point of view about it. But in the process, I was giving some of the history and rundown about Jay Wilson's past over here in the beef sector, and how he kind of mixed God into the mess on multiple occasions, to the point to where he rubbed people the wrong way, if or not lost respect, or people lost respect for him because of him mixing the two things. And I was curious to the people who are Umar sector people if Code has a history of doing something like that in their sector. But Stephanie Collins did drop down and let me know that they have a Shiesty Reverend in the Umar sector, but she said that the Shiesty Reverend in the Umar sector is not Code. Good morning, Ray Triggs, moderator. She said the Shiesty Reverend that they have is not Code, but she didn't put a name on who the Reverend was, but maybe it's because she ain't trying to stir up anything. But hopefully whoever they have as a Shiesty Reverend over there up in their sector wasn't as calculated as Jay Wilson was, because Jay Wilson was something serious. How y'all hear him talk about people gooping the kids? Oh, Jay Wilson was really gooping the kids. Jay Wilson. Once upon a time, y'all, before people lost respect for Jay Wilson was truly the highest paid YouTuber on here. That's why I find it so funny that Lemon always bragging and saying that he is the highest paid. Maybe currently he might see the most in money, but back then when the beef sector was first like merging and becoming a thing, Jay Wilson would use that Bible and his knowledge of God and the word. He would use his singing voice and sing a hymn or two. And Jay Wilson was the highest paid person up in the beef sector until people lost respect for him, y'all. Until people realized that he was playing with God. Until people realized that it was two sides to that coin. Jay Wilson was the highest paid person, and that's the reason why he always said, "Coin, keep him here." Jay Wilson used to talk about beefing for dollars, and he actually used to talk about people in the beef sector beefing with each other for dollars because people was making money. That's whenever Jay Wilson actually showed that he could sell himself for a coin. He really could. Jay Wilson be acting like he can't be bought, but Jay Wilson can be bought. He was bought on multiple occasions back then. Just Lovely said, remember Sean was the original pastor. It was just a joke on his call-in show because people would call in saying, thank you, pastor. And next thing I know, Jay Wilson was saying he was a pastor. I do remember. And actually, I remember when Sean would do his call-in shows, Just Lovely, he used to call them call-in shows the service. Because I used to be here for the service. Sean, though, his was more of like a parody. When Sean did his call-in shows and they were titled The Service, he was doing like, what is it? Like a skit where he would have like a robe on or something, like he was a pastor, and he would sit there at his table and have his call-in line open for people to call in and talk to him or solve their grievances, or if not, argue during his service. And that's where, yeah, people would call him pastor. But then Jay Wilson kind of stole that moniker of pastor from Sean and used it though on a serious tip. And I think that's what made the difference. Because yeah, Sean's was a joke, but Jay Wilson's was taken very, very seriously until people realized that he was gooping the kids, y'all. Roger said, he's gooping us now, saying he's employed with an office job. His job is YouTube and Uber, and he lies about everything. Yeah, I don't know what his job is. And speaking of his job, I did hear him do a live yesterday too. It seemed like something happened between Castro and Tommy. And somebody, I don't know who did it, but I went to Tommy's video and looked. And it seemed like somebody must have called Tommy's job trying to get Tommy fired, y'all. But they don't know who called. I don't know if it was YouTube people that called. I don't know if it was Castro, which I doubt it was Castro. I would hope that Castro did call. I don't know who called Tommy's job, but somebody called Tommy's job, and Tommy did a brief live, about 8 or 9 minute live, and he was very upset about people calling his job, and he went live talking about it. So I do know that, and I was saying, speaking of jobs. But Just Lovely said, yes, the service. And Burber said, remember Jay Wilson used to have cash out parties. Yeah, I remember the cash out parties that he would have, but the cash out parties came a little bit later, and he only started having the cash out parties because he stole that from Miss Gina. Miss Gina Queen of Talk was the first one to have the cash out parties. And it's crazy because people said that she was scamming and scheming and taking money off the top and all that. And then lo and behold, Jay Wilson started having the cash out parties, and people were very accepting of it. That's one of the things when Pizarro talk about this male identified stuff within the beef sector. I think I don't know if she fails to realize, but I think a lot of people fail to realize the beef sector has been heavily male identified for years. Case in point, the fact that everybody was accepting, like what Barber said right here. When Miss Gina did the cash out parties, people called her a scammer, a thief, and all of this horrible stuff. But then Jay Wilson turned around, stole the idea from Miss Gina, had the same cash out parties, and people supported it, and never once was they calling him a scammer or a thief. That was an example of the male identified behavior of the beef sector even way back then, y'all. So to me, it's funny how in 2025 people are having a discussion now all willy-nilly as if this discussion just automatically needed to be had right now because this is a new occurrence. But no, this is not a new occurrence. This has been happening over the course of the years. I think that people just weren't paying attention to realize what was going on. Just Lovely said, baby, I heard about the cash out parties. And Suki said, someone called Tommy Job. Absolutely. He said it was from someone in his own sector. Okay. I saw the live of him talking about it, Suki. And I kind of just tuned in, but I tuned in for the most part because the way Jay Wilson had made it seem that the boy got fired. And I'm like, what? He got fired? But when I looked at Tommy's video, Tommy called and checked in with his employer, but he didn't get fired, y'all. He just had to have a conversation with his employer about what was said. But but no, he did not lose his job, which is good. Y'all said Castro was just playing with Pow Pow on his short. Oh, really? Hopefully Castro is okay. Hopefully it is. I've been subscribed to Castro for years, and I peek in over there from time to time when he is live. But I haven't really been following him as much with this whole Tommy saga because it just seemed like a very toxic and unhealthy situation going on with them. And I just didn't want to see it, y'all. I just didn't. I don't know why, but I just have not had an interest in it. Where I've heard so many people talk about Castro and Tommy and doing commentary and all this. I've not had an interest in any of that. I don't know what about that situation makes me not interested, but I'm just not. At best, I've heard the most about their situation if I would tune in over at Shamar's because they would be over there discussing it at Shamar's sometimes in the middle of the night. But outside of that, I haven't really been following it. But I think Jay Wilson was saying they finally broke up for good and now they moving on. So I really hope that they move on and go their separate ways so that don't nothing crazy go down. And especially somebody saying that he was playing with a pow pow on his short. I hope that he ain't over there playing with no pow pow. That ain't nothing to play with. That is not nothing to play with. Just Lovely said he was good for stealing other content creator show ideas. He was stealing them, act like he brought it to the table. He was a hot ass mess, but he is a prime example of how the way you treat people and specifically how you treat the audience is a reflection of how they turn around on you. Because imagine Jay Wilson going from being one of the highest paid YouTubers, or actually the highest paid YouTuber when it comes to his Sunday service and his church services. Y'all, he would do like a Bible study, these types of things up on his channel, and he would be bringing in good money back then. Only for now, we fast forward to 2025, and now he barely even makes a dime. Now he actually have to ask people to put a color on it because people ain't even putting colors on it like they used to do. Once upon a time, you could go into Jay Wilson's and you would see colors just going crazy across his screen. Now he have to say put a color on it, and now people don't even do any. They don't really, do much. One thing too, though, one thing too that I do want to go into is like, I don't know if y'all know, but Jay Wilson announced that Vivian's mama passed away on Monday morning. And so he was speaking about Vivian's mama, and he was telling his ushers to drop Vivian's cash app in his chat so that people could cash out Vivian. One thing that I've noticed about B sector content creators, and I really have to shake my head about it, y'all. I don't get how they think that it's such a flex and that they are doing such a great service to someone to allow them to drop their cash app in the chat. For the life of me, I don't get that at all. But it's a lot of people up in the beef sector that think, oh, because I'm allowing you to drop your cash app that I did something for you. No. Instead of Jay Wilson telling the ushers to drop Vivian's cash app up in the chat so that the people in the audience can donate to her, Jay Wilson should have opened up his own wallet and donated her a cash app his damn self. Out of all the countless hours and free labor and things like that Vivian I put in over there at that channel, out of all the prayer cloths and things like that Vivian done made on behalf of that channel, out of all the trips and Jay Wilson cations and cruises and fundraisers and all of this that Vivian done planned and organized over there up on that channel. And her mother done passed away, and you, instead of you sending her a cash app, you saying, well, okay, let's go ahead and drop her cash app in the chat. Why in the hell everybody else up in the chat gotta give her the donations when you should just reach up in your pocket and give her a donation, in my opinion. In my opinion. And good morning to DC Kool-Aid and Lisa. Good morning. Good morning, Pizarro. Pizarro said, Jake, did you hear about Diddy's charges being dropped? No, I didn't hear about it. That must have happened late last night, Pizarro. I ain't know nothing about that. I ain't know nothing about it. Diva D said he clowned Gina about it and then turned right around and did it himself. Then did it again to her with the tarot card readings, but he used Uno cards. Oh, I remember his Uno card readings. I almost forgot about that. I remember that. Let me see. Sage Gage said, shut up, Peeks. Are you serious? Is he free or a mistrial? Huh. Oh, Pizarro said that's what Tisa Talks saying. Huh. I'll go check into Tisa Talks. I typically don't watch Tisa Talks, and I haven't really been following this Diddy trial, to be honest, because from what I heard, when I heard other people talking about it, they just said it was a whole bunch of like sexual discussion and orgies and stuff being discussed in the court of law. And I don't know if I was interested to hear any of that. Like once you got past the DV part of it, it just sounded like a whole bunch of freaky talk up in the courtroom. They said reading the transcript of the Diddy trial is like reading a Zane novel. And I ain't got time. I didn't like to read the Zane novels back then when it was popular. All of my older cousins would be getting the Zane books and reading the Zane novels. I couldn't stand no damn Zane book. So therefore, I didn't know that I was going to be interested up in no damn Diddy trial. And that's just facts upon facts. But I have to go and see what they talking about to see what done happened. I did catch our mom was talking something about the Diddy trial yesterday, and I clicked in there. He had 8.2K people watching, and I clicked in there I might have listened for about 2 minutes and then I clicked out. But I definitely go see what in the hell y'all talking about if y'all telling me this man charges got dropped. That's crazy. Y'all telling me they about to set this man free after all that mess he did? Y'all, that's crazy. So I have to go and hear that for myself. But either way, y'all, well, I done been here for my hour and a half, which is wonderful. I guess I'll go and try to see what in the hell Pizarro is talking about them dropping these charges, see what's going on with that. Olivia, thank you for being here. I appreciate you. You said you listening while getting ready for work. Yeah, like the video if you can, y'all. Share the video if you have sharing capability. I guess I'll peek around and see what in the hell Pizarro talking about to see what's going on with this. And y'all, I guess I'll end up seeing y'all probably on my Dun Daughter channel. I probably will come to y'all sometime tomorrow. Not tomorrow morning though, but I'm not sure what time tomorrow. But I might come to y'all on the Dun Daughter channel tomorrow. And if I don't go on Dun Daughter tomorrow, then y'all will definitely see me at 6 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time over here on Friday morning for my morning show at that particular point. And as always, I know y'all will see me on a link or something. Good morning, pretty chocolate girl. Y'all will definitely see me on a link or something, I'm sure. But either way, y'all take care. Be blessed. Don't stress. If y'all shop at Publix, y'all, the Publix sale, the buy one get one free. The new sale always starts every Wednesday. So I can't wait to take a look at the Publix website to see if it's any buy one get ones that I might want to get this week. I just wanted to let y'all know that because I just thought about it myself. A new Publix sale starts every Wednesday. Thank you. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.